Welcome to the Just in Time podcast. Hope everybody's having a good one. We are under 24 hours away from the 2024 NBA draft. I am very much looking forward to it. Already we've had some crazy stuff go on. Literally just minutes ago, we've had the Alex Caruso for Josh Giddey trade. And after thinking about that for a little bit, amazing trade by the Thunder. You didn't have to give up you didn't have to give up picks to get Alex Caruso was an immediate plug and play guy for him. And for the Bulls, you're hoping for Josh Giddey, hoping, he's able to overcome the off the court stuff. But we'll see how that goes for Chicago. But that's last week. This week, Woj bomb for today. The Brooklyn Nets trade Mikal Bridges in a second-round pick to the New York Knicks. And the New York Knicks traded away Bojan Bogdanovic, 4 unprotected first-round picks, Milwaukee's protected first-round pick, a second-round pick, and a 2028 pick swap. So essentially 4 unprotected first, protected first from Milwaukee, and a 2028 pick swap. And they also do a second-round pick with Bojan Bogdanovic to make the money work. New York did this to get Mikal Bridges. Now, all the Villanova boys are together. Jalen Brunson, Dante DiVincenzo, Mikal Bridges, and Josh Hart. So I was a huge Knicks fan this past year. I love Jalen Brunson, and I love his teammates around him. I love the chemistry with Josh Hart and Dante DiVincenzo. Now it gets more complete with Mikal Bridges on the team. So it's going to be very exciting. Very exciting to see them play this next year. You're looking at the lineup of Jalen Brunson, Dante DiVincenzo, Mikal Bridges, Julius Randle, Isaiah Hartenstein, Josh Hart, Miles McBride, Mitchell Robinson, and then you got some options in free agency. Do you want to bring back Precious Achiuwa, Alec Burks? I don't think they gave away the 24th and the 25th picks. So in this mock draft that I just had here, I got them keeping those picks, and I got them making selections. So interesting to see how that goes. If they did keep those picks, that's a win. Those guys would be able to be thrown into this rotation. Tom Thibodeau is a guy that loves to be he loves his defense. He loves players that are tough and that are willing to play a lot of minutes. So, that's what I'm kind of looking to able to draft for him. But the key overall information for this trade was Mikal went to the Brooklyn Nets and he requested to trade, and he said he only wants to be a New York Knick. So that's what made this happen. I'm glad that this trade happened. I really didn't want to see Mikal Bridges end up with anyone else, really. I know there was talks about him going to Houston at 3, but I really like this fit for the New York Knicks and for the Brooklyn Nets. I like this because they're finally entering that phase of the transition where you can go into this rebuild a little bit. You get a lot of picks out of this, so that's a really good stuff by there. And then the Nets doubled down and they made other trades with the Houston Rockets, basically swapping picks. And really, Houston is just getting ready to, make a push for one of these superstars to put on their team. So we'll see how that goes. Before I get into this NBA mock draft I have for y'all, we're just going to run through it because it's been a long day and I don't want to take too much of y'all's time. And I know y'all are going to probably watch this tomorrow on draft days. I just wanted to name out some potential trades to look out for tomorrow and Thursday. Jimmy Butler is a name you got to keep an eye on. I think he's 34, 36 with the Miami Heat. He's got a big contract, but there's a lot of teams that are, in the market for him. Paul George is probably the biggest free agent available. I think he's the biggest domino to fall. One of my favorite players to watch, so I'm definitely interested in seeing where he goes. Clint Capella on the Hawks. I have the Hawks taking a big in this mock draft, so that's why I think they're going to move on from Capella. I think Capella could probably, benefit on some other team. Brandon Ingram. It's been a lot of reports that, he probably played his last game in New Orleans, and I think New Orleans is trying to shake things up. Trae Young. There's been a lot of rumors about Trae Young this whole offseason, so we'll see what happens with Trae Young. OG Anunoby, because of this Mikal Bridges thing, I don't think he had the money for OG to bring him back on the Knicks. It would be a tough stretch. You're probably asking him to take less money. I think it makes more sense for OG to kind of branch out, sign a bigger deal elsewhere. We're going to have a bigger role. Philly comes to mind. I know there's a lot of teams with money out there. Detroit. I think Detroit would be a great fit for him. San Antonio. Houston. So a lot of good fits for OG. He fits on a lot of teams. He's just a good player. Mikal Bridges just got traded to the Knicks, so we can cross him off that. And Marcus Smart was another one that the Grizzlies have been shopping, hopefully to try to trade up and get a big man in this draft. But I also know the Milwaukee Bucks are trying to shake up the roster, so it's something to keep an eye on. They're in the second apron, so it's going to be hard for them to, make trades that'll, significantly make them better. But I mean, they're shopping Bobby Portis, they're shopping Brook Lopez, so we'll see what they do. And the Chicago Bulls are also shopping their two stars, Zach LaVine and DeMar DeRozan. If I'm the Bulls, I'm also trying to shop Lonzo too. I mean, I know his value's got to be really low right now, but you're going to have a lot of guards, and I think I have drafted a guard in this mock draft too. So no, I don't have him drafted a guard, but it's a big clutter over there at the guard spot. So some moves got to be made. So let's go ahead and get this started off. In this mock draft, I had no trades within teams and like moving picks around and stuff like that. I know trades are going to happen. They're inevitable in this draft, but it's hard for me to predict those trades because I'm no GM. And so, yeah, we're just going to do this in a perfect world where none of the teams trade their draft order. And, whoever is picking, that's where they're sticking and picking. So at round 1, pick 1, I had the Hawks going with Donovan Clingan. 7'3", 280 from UConn, just came off a national championship. This dude is a beast. He's big. I think immediately comes in and he can start at the 5 for Atlanta. I think he's a good piece to build around in Atlanta. He's a solid piece. Oh, we're having some camera difficulties. I'm sorry about that. But I think he's a good piece. You saw what Quinn Snyder was able to do with Rudy Gobert. I think Clingan plays a lot like Rudy Gobert, and you're hoping that there's a shooting upside to him. So we'll see how that looks. At this moment in time, I think Atlanta's going to go with Clingan or Risachet. And I got them leaning Clingan because I think, it's very, very hard to find that big. And I think it's easy for him to come and solidify that right now with pick number 1. Round 1, pick 2, I have Washington taking Alex Sarr, the number 1 guy in this draft. Didn't want to play for Atlanta. So he's going to fall to Washington at 2. Washington needs a big. I think this is an easy fit. I love his defensive potential for the future. So, home run selection for Washington right there at 2. At 3, Houston's going to take Reed Shepherd. If Houston stays here, I'd be very surprised. But at this moment in time, I got them taking Reed Shepherd, who I think is probably the best shooter in this draft. He was awesome to watch at Kentucky, one of my favorite players in college basketball. And Houston's going to have a good one. They're going to have a good backcourt rotation with Fred VanVleet, Reed Shepherd, Amin Thompson, and Jalen Green all back there. So that's going to be pretty fun to watch, especially because they're rivals to the Spurs. At pick 4, I got the San Antonio Spurs selecting Zachary Risachet out of out of France. And he's a really good player. Another guy that can go number 1. But I think that Atlanta leans a big in this draft. I think because of that, I don't necessarily think Houston needs them because Houston and Washington are both pretty stacked at the wings. So I think the Spurs are just, they just need some big time players. And I think Risachet can come in and be a perfect fit alongside Wemby and just play, mainly as a catch and shoot 3 guy. And maybe he can grow his offensive game a little bit and grow as a defender. But I like this fit for San Antonio. At pick 5, I got the Detroit Pistons taking Matas Buzelis, out of the G League Ignite. 6'10", comes in and brings some size for the Detroit Pistons on the wing. Someone who I think could play pretty well alongside Cade Cunningham, Asar Thompson, Jaden Ivey, and Jalen Duren. They need a new head coach at the moment, but I think Detroit's going to figure it out. I'm a big believer in Cade Cunningham. He's one of my favorite players in the NBA. And so I think Matas will be, a great fit for him. At 6, I got the Charlotte Hornets taking Stephon Castle out of UConn. They just came off a national championship. Stephon Castle was a big reason why. He's like a 6'7" guard. And he has said that he wants to play point guard, but I don't know very many teams that are going to, make him play point guard in the NBA. So I think that, he's better off as a 2. You could probably sell him getting drafted higher if he's that off guard. And, I think his fit with just LaMelo Ball and Brandon Miller would be spectacular. So I got the Charlotte Hornets taking Stephon Castle at 6. At 7, I got the Portland Trailblazers taking Dalton Connect out of Tennessee. Dalton Connect is a lights-out shooter, one of the highest floors in this draft. I think he's just going to be a very good basketball player. And right away, you can just get plugged into any rotation and see valuable minutes, and he's going to be a productive player. At 8, I got the Spurs taking Rob Dillingham. A bit questionable pick. I know people are kind of, you're either high on Rob or you're not. I'm pretty high on him. I know his defense is a little bit of a question mark, but I think he's a supreme offensive talent. I think it's something that the Spurs just desperately need is, a capable ball handler. I know we got Trey Jones, but, at times it seems like we were lacking at the guard rotation. And so I think Rob comes in, and I think he can, be a highlight type of player. And I think he can hopefully progress to his potential on the offensive side of the ball. And hopefully, on the defensive end, I'm not expecting him to come out and be like first team all defense, but, all I ask is that you try on defense. And, at the end of the day, you're playing alongside Wemby, and he's going to help you out a lot on defense. At 9, the Memphis Grizzlies are taking Cody Williams, the younger brother of J-Dub. I like this a lot for Memphis. You're really hoping that you're able to go and get Klingon. That's who they really want. And I feel like this was a little too high to be taking a big here. Like, I think Edie and Ware that's just way too high for them. So potential they could trade down. I know Miami was rumored to trade up to 9, and they can do a little swap that way. But nonetheless, I like Cody Williams here. And, they also need a wing. So, yeah. At 10, the Utah Jazz are taking Nikola Topic. Nikola probably won't play his rookie year at all. They're his first year because of the knee injury, but someone with high potential, high upside, very good playmaker. 6'7", so he brings a lot of size for the point guard spot, just a league yard spot. With Utah, you're not in any rush to compete for a championship right now. You're just trying to establish who your core is, make those young players grow, and, try to better that team and that culture. Will Hardy's got a very good system over there. At pick 11, I got the Chicago Bulls taking Ron Holland, and I like that he fell to the Bulls only because they kind of need that star. And, there's been rumors of, them getting rid of Zach LaVine and DeMar DeRozan. I think Ron Holland could come in and be the new face for the Chicago Bulls for the wing for the foreseeable future. He's got to work on his shot. He's got to work on his consistency. But, I love his athleticism. I love him out in transition, out in the open court. And I think if he played college basketball, he would have been one of the best college basketball players in the nation. So, Ron Holland to the Bulls. I love that. That's a great pickup if he falls that far. It would have been even scarier if he fell to number 12. The Oklahoma City Thunder taking Devin Carter. I think this is a phenomenal fit as well. You pretty much got a crazy lineup right there. You got Shea. You got Isaiah Joe, who can play minutes for you. You got Kentucky guard last year. What was his name? I'm blanking on his name. Kentucky guard from last year. They got Alex Caruso. They got Lou Dort. They got Jada. They have they just have so many players over there, so many productive players. And, Devin Carter's going to be another one of them that are just going to come in right away. And he's going to fit with that system over there. Pass, dribble, shoot. And he could play defense. Devin Carter is certainly a player I wouldn't mind ending up on the Spurs. I think him going to the Spurs at 8 would make a lot of sense. But in this scenario, I had Rob Dillingham being taken at 8. So, I got Devin Carter going to the OKC Thunder at 12. At 13, I have the Kings taking Jacoby Walter. I know they just signed Malik Monk, but, Jacoby Walter being some scoring off the bench. And he said in draft interviews and stuff like that, he thinks that there's a lot of shot creation he wasn't able to display at Baylor. And I see it in him because he was a good shot creator in high school. So I'm just banking on him in that. And, I think it'd be a good pickup for the Kings. I think he's too talented to fall past like 20. So 14, the Blazers are taking Tajon Saloon. This is a guy that's rumored to have been going to the Spurs at 8 as well. Bit more of a raw prospect. I think he got injured during the Spurs workout, but he's another France guy, big wing, who has upside as a 3-and-D guy, but he's got some athleticism to him. So, you're intrigued by that. If you're Portland, you get Dalton Connect and Tajon Saloon. One guy you can plug in and play right away. The other guy you can grow a little bit more in the G League and, get his confidence up, and, he can learn behind guys like Jeremy Grant on that team. At 15, the Miami Heat. I love this fit personally. I got them selecting Isaiah Collier out of USC. Number one player in high school in his class coming out. And then also, rumored to be a number one pick earlier this year in like December. Then all of a sudden, this team doesn't make the March Madness run. And, his shooting's pulling sport the best, but they got him falling, in like the 20s and 30s, which is like insane to me. Collier is just way too good of a prospect. Miami has a need at point guard. Collier can be a really good two-way threat. Great playmaker. You're hoping the shot comes along, but he just really reminds me a lot of Drew Holiday in this game. So I like that fit for Collier in Miami. At 16, the 76ers are going to draft Tristan da Silva, somebody that can come in right away and play productive minutes for him. Probably the best cutter in the draft. He really gets a lot of effective buckets at the rim. Smart cutter, pretty good shooter. You really like that fit for Philadelphia. Yeah. Oh, a little bit of a Woj report. The Knicks are still determined to keep OG Anunoby, but they got to make a choice. You're either going to keep OG or you're going to keep Isaiah Hartenstein. And I think Hartenstein was a really good option for him. I think they should keep him. I think OG's going to command a lot more money in the market, so we'll see that way. At pick 17, the Lakers are going to take Zach Edey. I like Zach Edey. I think he's a pretty good player. And I know he gets a lot of hate, but two-time AP National Player of the Year for college basketball. That's an elite class that he's joining. That's like Kareem. That's like Bill Walton. Those are some good college basketball players, and Zach Edey's among them because he's a two-time National Player of the Year for college basketball. I think he comes into LA. He's able to grab rebounds. He's able to play good interior defense, and you're hoping that shot can grow. If he can grow that shot, then he's like 7'4", 300 pounds with a shot, and he's a beast in the paint. I think he's going to make life a lot easier for Anthony Davis and LeBron on the glass, especially. He's going to work hard. I like that fit personally. I know Kevin O'Connor's been mocking Zach Edey to the Lakers. He was pushing for wanting that to happen, and I don't think it's a bad fit. At 18, the Orlando Magic are going Jared McCain from Duke, my personal favorite player from this draft. I would love if he's a San Antonio Spur, but it's a little bit too high for him, I guess. Nonetheless, I think Jared McCain's going to be a great player. I think him falling to Orlando is a great fit. That are probably looking to let Markelle Fultz walk this offseason. So now you're looking at Anthony Black, Cole Anthony, Jalen Suggs, and Jared McCain backcourt rotation. I like that a lot. That's a lot of good shooting. That's a lot of good versatility on defense. And I just like it a lot. And I think, putting shooting next to Paolo Banchero is the best thing you can do for him. At 19, the Toronto Raptors are going to take Tyler Smith out of the G League Ignite. He's just a good, high potential guy that can shoot. He's like 6'10", 6'11", so he kind of fits that versatility and the athletic mold that Toronto really likes as a player. And I like his shooting upside, so I think that's a pretty good swing for Toronto. At 20, Cleveland takes Jalen Tyson. He's been rumored to go to the second round. I think he's too good of a talent to go to the second round. I think Cleveland just needs more depth. You're probably looking at depth towards the wing or the big man spot, but I like Jalen Tyson as like a backup, or like you could bring him on in the starting lineup. Maybe he's that good. He's a little bit of an older rookie, but he was amazing at Cal. He's a bucket. I think he could, help out this team a lot in a lot of ways. And I think shout out my boy Jason, a big Cleveland Cavaliers fan, but I think Jalen Tyson would be a good fit for him. At 21, the New Orleans Pelicans are going to take Kelly Ware out of Indiana, and I think he's a really good big man. I think he's got a lot of good potential. I think he could play pretty good alongside Zion Williamson. I think anything would be an upgrade over Jonas Valanciunas, who just didn't fit with Zion Williamson. And that's not a knock on Jonas. It's just the two play styles didn't work out. I think Kelly Ware is way more athletic. He can rim run. And, I don't know if he's going to ever come along with that shot, but at least he's going to be an athletic big. At 22, the Phoenix Suns are going to take Bub Carrington out of Pitt. And I like his upside. Kind of reminds me a lot. I said it in my last video, but he reminds me a lot of Josh Primo. Not any of the off-the-court stuff, purely on the court with the shot creation ability, and he's able to, get to his pull-up shot really effectively. He's like 6'5". I really like his upside. At 23, the Milwaukee Bucks are going to take Baylor Shireman out of Creighton, and I really like this guy a lot. He's another one of those safe players in this draft, and I think he can pass, dribble, shoot. He's 6'7". He's just a unique player, a player that I think that could fit on any single team in this draft. And I think Milwaukee needs more shooting, so I got them going Baylor Shireman, especially on the wing as well. At pick 24 and 25, the New York Knicks are going to take Daron Holmes at pick 24, and I think he kind of comes in and gives them more big depth. And I like Daron Holmes a lot. I think he's kind of like a Bam mold. I really like him a lot. In New York, playing with Tom Thibodeau. And at 25, I got them taking Johnny Furphy out of Kansas, and I think he's athletic, and he's a good shooter, and he came from Kansas, and I think he's going to fit in pretty well with this New York Knicks system. And I think that's something that'll go along really well with just adding Mikal Bridges to this team. Bringing in Daron Holmes and Johnny Furphy to potentially play right away or later on in the season, I think they can do that. At 26, the Wizards are going to take Yves Messi from Baylor, and he's kind of like a Clint Capella type of player. I had them taking Alex Sarr earlier, and they probably would go guard here, but nonetheless, they need big man depth. I think they have like Tristan Vucevic, and they also have Marvin Bagley, who I don't know if they're bringing back or not. So interesting to see how that plays out. At 27, the Minnesota Timberwolves are going to take Keyshawn George out of Miami. High upside, very tall wing. We'll see what he ends up doing in the NBA. It's a pretty good development system he's going into in Minnesota. Pretty good culture and development as well. Playing alongside Anthony Edwards and Jaden McDaniels. I really like that fit for him. At 28, I got the Denver Nuggets taking Kyle Filipowski. In his interviews, he was saying how much he idolizes Nikola Jokic and the way he plays. I think he'd be a great fit alongside Jokic. I think he could play the 4 or the 5. He brings some big man depth to that team that's desperately needed. He can stretch the floor a little bit as well. I really like his play style. I think he can go even higher than 28, but I like his fit here in Denver. At 29, I got the Utah Jazz taking Peckham to Diet from France as well, and he's another 3-and-D guy. Kind of gives you that Michael Finley type of game to him. I think I don't see him slipping into the second round, and if he does, he's going to be a very high second round pick. And the last pick of the first round, so this will be it for tomorrow's portion of the draft. But I got the Boston Celtics taking Terrence Shannon Jr. He's going to be like 24, but nonetheless, he's going to come in. And if the Celtics ever need a wing scorer, which they probably won't, because they got Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum, and Sam Hauser back for next year. But Terrence Shannon Jr. is another name you could throw into that mix that could play right away. And he's probably going to be an effective scorer. He was really good at Illinois. He's just a bucket. And I got full confidence in him being a bucket in the NBA. So now we're going to start this second round, and a lot of these are not going to be like set in stone guys. I think they're going to go to these places. A lot of them are just like names that I really like. I got them marked to sort towards certain locations, but nonetheless, we're going to speed run through this because it's been a long day. And the second round, I mean, this will be on Thursday, so it already doesn't get a lot of shine. I really focus on it a lot, though, because, I mean, that's where the championships are born. You can find some very impactful players in the second round. Nikola Jokic was a second-round pick. Manu Ginobili, Draymond Green. So, yeah, second-round picks are valuable. At pick 31, the Toronto Raptors are going to take Ryan Dunn, probably the best wing defender in this draft. I think he just fits that athletic mold that Toronto likes, and they're furthering their forward depth right there. At 32, I got Utah taking A.J. Johnson, the younger brother of Jalen Green. He really showed his upside at the combine. I really don't think he'll slip past. I don't think he'll slip past 39, honestly. Very good player. At 33, I got the Milwaukee Bucks taking Kevin McCullough out of Kansas. This is a guy that was really effective. I think he's gonna, go into Milwaukee. He's gonna be another great player from this draft. I think Milwaukee hits a home run draft taking Baylor Shireman and Kevin McCullough, 2 guys that can play meaningful minutes for you next season. At 34, I got the Portland Trailblazers taking A.J. Mitchell. A.J. Mitchell's one of my favorite players in this draft. I really hope he's able to become a Spur, but the former UC Santa Barbara guard, he's going to be great for whatever team he goes to. I think Portland furthers their guard depth with this, giving Scoot a backup point guard option in case they ever need it. Another one of my favorite players in this draft, Jamal Shead out of Houston. I got him going to the Spurs at 35. I think he's a dog. I played against him in high school. I know how good he is. He was phenomenal at Houston his senior year. If he didn't get hurt, I think Houston was going to win it all. I think they could have gave UConn a run for their money. Nonetheless, I think Jamal Chute is a great player, and I think he fits the Spurs system, despite what some others might say. I think he, works hard on the defensive end. He's a unselfish playmaker. He will always give the ball up, and he's a bucket too when you need him to get a bucket. So I like the energy he could bring to this team. I like the potential of Jamal Chute. At 36, Cam Christie, the younger brother of Max Christie, going to the Indiana Pacers. They're just looking to add more 3-and-D depth over there. At 37, the Minnesota Timberwolves, I got them taking Jalen Bridges out of Baylor. Another 3-and-D wing for him. At 38, I got the Knicks taking Tristan Newton out of UConn. Just won a national championship. Tristan Newton is a really intriguing guard. He's more of an older guard, but I think one that fits that New York Knicks system. And again, you're taking another guy that he can get plugged in and play meaningful minutes for you. So, man, the Knicks are hitting a home run draft right now. If you're able to do all this and get Mikal Bridges, despite, you gave up a lot of picks, but I mean, I look at this Knicks team and I'm like, I think they're going to be Eastern Conference Finals contender. I think they'll be right there. At 39, I got the Memphis Grizzlies taking Oso Ighodaro from Marquette. And I had them taking Cody Williams early in the first round. I think they needed a big. They were hoping to get Klingon earlier. They weren't able to do that, so they're taking Oso. And I like Oso's upside. He reminds me a lot of Al Horford, more of a playmaker as a big, so that's pretty exciting to see. You're interested in seeing how he's able to grow that jump shot. He's like 6'9", 6'10", so he's gonna have to work for it. But he hustles a lot. He crashes the glass at a high level, so I like that fit. At 40, the Trailblazers are going to take Dylan Jones. At 41, the 76ers are going to take Tyler Kolek. He probably fell too low on this board. He's going to go pretty high. I know he's going to go to the Suns in the first round. Tyler Kolek is just a good playmaker at Marquette. I always took this when I was sports betting. I always took this guy on his assists over, and he would always cash for me. Just a really good playmaker, and Philadelphia just needs more depth. Period. At 42, I got the Charlotte Hornets taking Justin Edwards, the wing out of Kentucky. He was a 5-star, I think. So you're hopefully he's able to grow over there. But there's just a lot of young talent over there at Charlotte. They just need more vets over there, honestly. At 43, the Miami Heat, they're going to take Dylan Jones. Did I have Dylan Jones going twice? I sure did. I screwed that up. You can just scratch his name out. Antonio Reeves could be a good fit here. I know he's kind of a tweener. He might not be getting drafted, but I like Antonio Reeves' game a lot. I have Miami Heat taking Isaiah Collier, so you probably didn't want another guard there, but Dylan Jones is kind of a guard in the wing. Miami Heat are going to figure it out. They always do. They always draft really well. At 44, the Houston Rockets are going to take Jalen Wells. At 45, the Kings are going to take Nikola Dursic. 46, the Philadelphia 76ers don't have a pick. It got forfeited. At 47, the Clippers are going to take the hometown kid, Adam Bona. At 48, the Orlando Magic are going to take Bobby Klintman. 3D guy, picked him out last year, but you're excited about his upside. Great draft by Orlando. At 49, you got the Spurs taking Harrison Ingram. Really great wing rebounder. Somebody that can just come in and bring some size and bring some grit to the San Antonio Spurs on a wing. You really hope he comes along as a shooter. That's some shooting. Like, you wouldn't want him on the court at the same time as Sohan unless you're going to, hopefully they're just getting rebounds. But just the shooting and spacing of that sounds kind of scary. But I like Harrison Ingram. At pick 50 and 51, the Indiana Pacers are taking Trey Alexander and N'Faly Dante, increasing depth at the point guard and center spot. At 52, the Washington Wizards are taking Kashad Johnson, the wing. At 53, the Warriors are going to take Ulrich Kamchi from the where he came from, like NBA Africa or something like that. Just a big that you can, bet your potential on. At 54, the Detroit Pistons are going to take Trenton Flowers. At 55, I got the Celtics taking KJ Simpson. At 56, I got the Lakers taking Bronny James. I will lock this in right now. I think this is going to happen. I just think Bronny's going to end up being a Laker and that the Lakers will figure it out. At 57, I got the Nuggets taking Juan Nunes. 58, I got the Memphis Grizzlies taking Jonathan Mogbo. Really high upside. Wing with some playmaking tools. You're hoping that shot comes along, though. At 59, the Phoenix Suns had their pick forfeited. And at 60, I had PJ Hall going to the Mavs for another, shooter as a big. But that's my mock draft really quick. I know this is not going to be perfect at all. This will get messed up probably like pick. It'll probably get messed up. If I get the lottery right, I owe myself a treat. I probably owe myself some shoes if I get the lottery perfectly right, but it's not going to happen because trades are going to happen. Players are not going to go to all these teams. I'd be very surprised, but yeah, that's going to do it for this episode. I hope y'all like my mock draft. I tried to get some others to come on, but they were just, scheduling conflicts didn't work out and stuff like that. So I got this for y'all. I'll probably include images of my mock draft, and it's gonna have my handwriting on there. It's not gonna be pretty, but yeah, that's gonna be it. Hope everybody has a good one. Hope everybody tunes in for the NBA draft tomorrow. I might live stream. I'm not sure yet. If I do, I'll make sure to put it on my social media, and that's a great way to segment into that. Follow me on Instagram, X, TikTok, and Facebook at Just in Time Pod on X, at Just in Time Podcast on Instagram, TikTok, and Facebook. Otherwise, it's been real. I'll see y'all for episode 5. We're gonna break down even more NBA stuff in that one. I'm excited for this NBA draft season. Let's get it.